congratulations on this. I really loved this season and beautiful and
It was,
empowering and hopeful and which is what we need right now.
thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for watching it. How are you
Yeah, no, of
doing?
course. Yeah, I'm great, thank you. And if we could just start with me asking you like what drag has meant to you in your own life.
Oh my God. I feel like drag has meant so much. I'm like, obviously, it's completely changed my life in a million ways that I did not ever expect. I necessarily didn't even want to do drag. I was like, somebody was like, oh, maybe you would be great at that. I was like, I don't know. It's not really my thing. I'm not really interested in it. But somehow everything that I've ever been interested in my life, fashion, like makeup, hair, design, like so many things that I've always loved are all in drag. So I'm like, maybe it's always been my little nugget for me to do. But after doing drag, I'm like myself. I was a very shy person, like going to school. I know it's probably hard to believe because the doll won't shut up. But I was a very shy person. I really didn't like come out of my shell a lot. And even when I would like come out into the queer community, when I finally did like start coming out, I was the type of girl I didn't even go out until when I was 21 was when I was in the club. It was like I was giving very proper girl. And so I would still be like very quiet, very little shy. And then when I started to see drag, I'm like, oh, these people are really fierce. And the first time that I did drag, and it was like so many people from the community, like, oh my God, you look so good. Like almost like as if they were expecting this from me. And I was like, well, maybe this feels comfortable. And now myself as Jared outside of drag, I feel so much more confident. I'm like learning to wear the things that I want to wear outside of drag because Jada's beautiful and confident. And so now I know the power of drag and I get to do it on We're Here for other people's lives. It's fierce.
Yes. Yeah, so was that some of the your own experience you felt that you were
Yeah.
able to bring to your
Yeah.
drag bits? That's great. And what was it like getting to share this experience with Sasha and Priyanka?
Oh, it was fierce. I think for all of us, because we were all new hosts, there was like we were probably all a little nervous, knowing that people would be expecting a lot. But also, aside from us like having really fun kiki moments at the show, I think in the moments where we were really scared, and there were like a lot of times where there were a lot of times that we were probably very scared, especially like at the town hall. It was good to know that I had my sisters there, that we had each other's backs, and even if we felt any type of afraid, at least if nobody else in the community had us, we had each other. So it was really good.
Yeah, and some of it is quite tense to watch. That's why I say I love that, on the whole, it's very hopeful and uplifting, but it doesn't sort of sugarcoat what some of
Yeah.
the views are that are out there. And yeah, so what was it like being in the Murfreesboro City Council meeting? We get to hear the person that stands up and talks about, LGBTQ people being a religious cult
A
and
cult.
yeah.
That is one of the most ridiculous things that I've ever heard in my life, that if you are not a religion, you are still a religious cult. And I don't want to insult anybody, but I'm just thinking if somebody is saying that, then it's probably very important to listen to the other things that they say. Um, but we went to the town hall meeting and it won the daughter. I felt really bad because like she's so young, and I don't think that she's even had the opportunity to really explore a lot of the world and make decisions on her own about the people that she's meeting and seeing in the world. But I do feel like you said at the end of the day, the show is a lot about hopeful, and I do hope in my mind in that moment I was like, I pray that one day she will have the opportunity to spend time around people that will open her eyes. But in that moment, it just was a very dark experience. That was to me one of the toughest things about doing this entire experience and doing the show. We wanted to have a conversation with the father and the daughter, and they said that they wanted to have a conversation with us. But then it felt like it was turning into a space to like insult queer people instead of a space of understanding. And so I was like, I'm going to step away from this because in my life, I've already been like a punching bag a lot for people. And I also don't want to send a signal to, as much as the conversation is important, not was, but is important to be having. I didn't want to send a message to people that if people treat you poorly or just insult you or make you feel bad under the guise of conversation, that's not okay. and it's okay for you to protect yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, it didn't feel like a dialogue so much. And let's go on to you being a wonderful drag mom in the series. And first of all, Malika, and I loved the connection that built with you. It felt like a real, like a really special connection. What do you admire about Malika? And tell us a little bit about, being her drag mom.
I love the most about Malika. I think number one, like from the moment I met her laugh and like her smile and her energy is just so big. And throughout the course of like getting to know her right away, I could tell that she was like, I'm like, you literally are you're a leader in this community, but I can just tell that there's layers to her. So I'm like, we'll figure that out later. But I could just tell that her heart was so big. And then to meet everybody in her life is like, you're a savior to me. You always pull up when we need you. You're always there for everyone around you, no matter what you're going through. And it just kind of broke my heart because I'm like, well, then what about you? What about you? And I'm like, you're important too. Um, and just to like, I don't know, it just felt like to for her to open up and for her to make me feel so comfortable for myself to even open up to her. I'm like, who's here? I'm like, we're both here, but who's the one that was brought to Murfreesboro? I'm like, I'm here supposed to be here to help you, and you're changing my life. And just even knowing that like when we leave there, I'm sure you watched all of the season. And it's like to see the end of like what happened with her on the show, to know like how much further she can go and like how much impact she will make in the community. It just makes me very emotional because I'm like, she is going to be like a Marsha P. Johnson, like a leader so fierce for the people down there in Tennessee that need her, especially right now.
Yeah. And what about putting the drag show together for her?
It was fierce. I feel like it was difficult because um when we first talked to Malika, she was like, I want everything flashy, rhinestones, diamonds, sparkling, glitter, face covered in face. And I feel like is that you're excited for the drag. And because you want all of the drag at one time. And I'm like, there will be more time for you to do this again after this. But like getting to know her, especially knowing who she was and like her life and her backstory was important, but then getting to know her and like the playful part of her and like what music do you like to listen to, and those things felt so important because to me I'm like, her story is different than mine. We grew up in a different space. I'm not trans, she is, but when we kiki about our music, I'm like, oh my God, this is the base of how we're connected and how we're the same. And people who watch the show, it is so important for them to see that, because when you see Malika, you're going to go, a lot of people are going to say, that's not me. I don't know how I connect with her. We're not the same. And then when you see her heart, you go, oh my gosh, she reminds me of myself. She reminds me of my little sister or my aunt, or like all these important people in your life. And it's important for people to see that queer people are just like you. We're all the same people, just trying to survive and live and be happy.
And what about Bradford? Like his song was just like that was one of the moments where
Oh my
every
God.
episode you cry, I think, but I definitely cried during that. Tell us a bit about working with him.
I mean, you can see I was like so emotional when we were doing like the rehearsal. And we did the rehearsal, and then like I was like talking to him, like that was the first time that I got the chance to hear him sing. So we like kikied and we had a fun moment where we were like walking around and like playing around. And when he finally did sing, after me hearing a lot about the music and not doubting that he would be fierce, but I heard a lot about the music, and I was like, okay, I'm excited to see what it's going to be about. I'm excited to see what the song is about. And hearing a Christian ally sing a song about having the backs of his children, having my back, having your back, and the people in our community, the people that you don't even know, just out of love, I'm like, that felt so major. And the lyrics felt so real and they felt so connected. And so I got so emotional then. I'm like, because we were in this space and we were meeting so many people who were like, I'm a Christian and you're going to hell. And I'm like, okay, you don't even know me. Like, I'm meeting you now and you don't know me, and you're using religion to make people feel small, to degrade them. And somebody like Bradford is using the love that he's learning from his religion, even though there might be people he might receive backlash from some of his fans for this, but he's using his love and his light to make people feel better. And we all can do that.
Well, Jada Essence Hall, thanks so much. Great chatting to you. And yeah, see you soon, hopefully.
Thank you. Hopefully see you soon. Yes.